I don't even get a chair. Are we ready?
Yep. Start.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say good morning and thank you to all of you for participating in what I think is the best Women in Business program of any business organization. I want to say thank you to Allie and the Savings Bank for being our sponsor. They've been our sponsor from the very beginning. We look forward to them continuing next year as well. We think we made a real difference providing this networking, this connectivity between women in business of all different types, as well as the mentoring that comes in. We're very fortunate. We have state officials here, and they're very, very, very important to us, as well as our federal SBA friends. But the important thing is to realize that you're not alone in your business world. And this is how you make connections. This is how you network. So Michael won't give me a chair, so I'm leaving and turn it over to Michael and say thank you once again to Rayanne for coordinating this with Michael and all of you. And again, say thank you again to the Savings Bank. Look forward to all of you. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving and get ready for Christmas. Thank you all.
Thank you. As I did some announcements earlier, so at this time, I'm actually going to turn it over to Allie and the Savings Bank. As Joe mentioned, we want to thank the Savings Bank year after year. They've been the sponsor of this Women in Business series. They think very highly of what you all do and how you all accomplish what you do. So I want to say thank you again to the Savings Bank. I'm going to turn over to Allie, who's going to say a few words and then introduce our speaker. So thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate it. And welcome, Allie.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Allie Houghton. I'm the marketing coordinator with the Savings Bank. And I just want to welcome everybody here today and thank Merrimack Valley Chamber for continuing to put together these great seminars and bringing us all together, even though we can't be there in person. It's still great to be able to get together like this. And the Savings Bank has been a proud sponsor of the event for a number of years now, and we are very happy to be able to sponsor this great event. So again, welcome to everybody. And now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, Deanna Junge of Landmark Finish Inc. So welcome, Deanna.
Hi there. Thanks everybody for having me. I was really humbled when Michael asked me to do this today. So I'm gonna try to share, I guess, a little bit about myself, something about our company. And we recently pivoted our business due to COVID. So I thought that that could be a nice story to share with you all today. And then, of course, I'm super casual. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. And then we can always do Q&A at the end as well. So again, my name is Deanna Junge. I'm a native New Yorker from Long Island. My husband, Stuart, and I came up here to Boston back in the 90s when we came here to go to Boston College. We just absolutely fell in love with New England and never looked back to going back home to Long Island. So graduated Boston College in '98 and went to work for PricewaterhouseCoopers, where I went into auditing. I kind of found my love for accounting in high school when I took an intro to accounting course and kind of knew that I was going to be on that path. And stayed with PricewaterhouseCoopers to get my CPA. And then I moved on to a smaller firm in Lexington before I kind of finished off and moved over to private industry, where I was a financial controller for a firm in Boston for a number of years. And so I left that job in 2006 when we decided to start our family. We have two sons. Brody is 14 and Colby's 11. And, of course, we're dealing with all this, remote learning and hybrid learning and all this craziness that we're all trying to navigate through these days. So got a high schooler and almost a middle schooler. And so, those challenges, I think everybody can kind of feel each other's pain these days with all we have going on. But when we're not working here in the shop, we have our sons here quite a bit. We love doing family projects together. Stu, turn the lights on. Sorry, my sensors just turned off. We love doing family projects together. We've got a little YouTube thing going where we do projects together in the shop, whether it's woodworking or starting to get into some other materials. And we post our videos. So it's kind of a fun family thing that we have going on here. And they're actually turning out to be really, really wonderful woodworkers. So it's really rewarding in that respect. So from a business standpoint, we're here in Andover. We've got a shop here in Dundee Park. We've been here for about 13 years now. Landmark Finish has been in business for almost 20 years. And so we are an award-winning custom cabinet shop. We've won the North Shore Magazine Bonds Home Award for the last 3 years, Reader's Choice. And so we're very proud of that. And we've been serving commercial and residential clients throughout New England for just about 20 years now. And so all that changed, right, in March with COVID. And so, you know, things started shutting down, and we knew that we had to make a change in our business. And so, you know, it's kind of interesting how my role has changed over the years here, because when I first started out, you know, it was strictly an accounting and financial position that I was filling, and, you know, doing the books and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, but as a business owner, as I'm sure most of you know, we have to adapt, and we have to, you know, wear many hats, sometimes all of them in one day. And so when we were doing the cabinetry work, I was starting to take on more of a role of helping out with design work and project management, which was really fun to be working with clients and taking, you know, their vision that they had for a project and helping to build that and bring that to fruition. And now I'm really focusing more on business development and the sales and marketing aspect of these plastic barriers that we're now making. So, so when COVID hit, we were watching the news one night, and we were watching a gentleman being interviewed behind, you know, a makeshift barrier, right? Like, we've all seen them now. Some people, it's kind of crazy, all the different things you see. Some are, you know, PVC pipe. We've seen shower curtains up in stores. We've seen the whole gamut of these barriers that are going up. And so Stuart had kind of an aha moment. And so, you know, he saw this interview and he said, Dee, we gotta make barriers. And so it was kind of like, okay, like, are we really doing this? And how quickly can we do it? And can we get to market quick enough? And so he went into the shop the very next day and started prototyping our very own line of clear protection barriers. And so we've really had to take the time to kind of look around our shop and what kind of resources do we have at our fingertips. And so we've got a 16,000 square foot shop. We've got all the CNC automated equipment. And we actually had some acrylic on hand from an old commercial project that we had done. And so, you know, he got right at it. And within a couple of weeks, you know, in a few different versions of it, we had something that we felt like we could really bring to market. And so, you know, it was a very interesting process. You know, like I said, we've been in business for almost 20 years. And so we had weathered the recession of 2008. At that time, we had pivoted from really high-end residential cabinetry and millwork to commercial cabinetry. And so we were no stranger to, you know, making a change in the business and shifting gears and you know, figuring out how to not only survive, but thrive in a time where the market wasn't doing so great. And this time we knew we had to do it quicker than we had ever done before in order to not miss that opportunity. And so we went for it. And, you know, we wound up reaching out to some business mentors that we have, which were critical. We actually had a business mentor of ours who had a background of marketing was out on furlough. And so we were just kind of doing an informal chat with her one day and talking about, you know, thinking about this idea and trying to get it to market. And she was really enthusiastic about it. And so, you know, we kind of joked with her and said, oh, do you want to help sell these with us? And she called us back the next day and said, were you serious about that? Because I've got time in my hands. Maybe I can really help you out here. And so we wound up taking on our first outside sales rep ever that we've ever had in the company. And so that was really cool. And so collectively, we worked with her to, you know, figure out pricing and what markets to hit first. And, the process of how we should do that. And within just a few weeks, we landed one of our first really large deals, and that was to Bangor Savings Bank. And they actually bought for all 57 of their branches throughout New England. And so it was really at that point where we've said to ourselves, this is really cool. We've got something here that people need. And it's not just getting anything out there. We knew that we had something that had a really unique design, and that, it actually looks, it looks nice. It doesn't just look like you're slapping up a piece of plexiglass. And so the feedback that we were receiving was unbelievable. Bangor had actually taken a sample and called us because they were trying to do tip tests on it, and they were trying to knock it over. And they called us and they said, we can't believe how well this thing is standing up and how good it looks and how clear it is. And so that was really encouraging for us, because we knew that we had something that was scalable and that we could really run with. And so so we started kind of looking inside our own network first, and we went to our existing client base, right? Because why go out and find all brand new clients when you can start with people that you already have trusted relationships with? And so we were able to sell to Boston College. We had already done a number of cabinetry projects with them over the years, and we wound up outfitting the entire campus of Boston College. And then with a little grassroots marketing, we wound up getting an account with Brandeis University as well. And so, everything that we did, and I think it's important to note that everything that we did was not big budget. Like, everything was very grassroots, and it was reaching out to our network and connecting with people through the chamber, right? We did an email blast through the chamber, and we were able to reach quite a few local businesses and help them with their reopening efforts. LinkedIn, I found to be tremendously helpful. I finally bit the bullet and bought like the, higher subscription to LinkedIn, but it allowed me to connect with people, message people, reach out and, find some kind of commonality with people and say, hey, we have something that can help you with your reopening efforts, because so many people were just completely overwhelmed and didn't know what to do to get their doors reopened. The state of Massachusetts was, every other day was putting out some new guidelines, and nobody knew how to interpret them. And do I need a barrier here? How do I make my employees feel comfortable? How do I make patrons want to come back into my store and spend time and money here? And so I would say it's been, obviously from the business perspective of it, it's been a good business pivot for us, but it's also been a very rewarding process trying to help local businesses get back on their feet and get their doors reopened. The other sector that we really started to work with were local school districts. And so we've worked with the Andover and North Andover school districts. We've helped out in Boxford, Topsfield, and Middleton, a private Catholic school in Haverhill. All of these schools coming to us and having different environments and different concerns about bringing their students back and how to do that safely and keep their students and their teachers safe. So it's been a really great process for us to be able to kind of give back in that sense and do a little community outreach and help them with all of their reopening efforts. So I know that sounds like, when I talk to people and I tell them about, how quickly we were able to get an idea and prototype and bring this to market, they're like, Deanna, like, you're making that sound too easy. But, it was a very challenging period of time in that we were working with new vendors. We were trying to secure material that was like the hottest commodity out there. there were days where we would get a call that there were 40 sheets of material that were, 100 miles away, and Stuart would just get in the truck and go get it because it was that hard to get our hands on material. And so there were definitely some major challenges that we faced along the way in getting this kind of up and off the ground. And now we've really got our sights set on growing this to a national level. And so that's where we're at now, that we've helped so many local businesses and schools kind of get on their feet, that we know that we can make an impact beyond just Massachusetts. And so one of the things that we're doing right now is we're actually rebranding, which has been a really interesting process because I'm a numbers person, right? So I just like to crunch numbers. And so we're working with all these creative people right now that are, approaching things in such a way that I would never even think to do. So we're working with some people on rebranding and coming up with a new website, e-commerce, and just the naming process alone has been incredible. This woman that we're working with out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, she has researched just old philosophers and forward thinkers. And we've got this connection to the golden ratio. And she has researched this in such a way and come up with such creative names that I would never in a million years have thought of. And so we're kind of hashing through that right now. And so it's been, I would say, a little bit of a challenging process for me mentally to kind of get my head in that space and, understand her process, but it's also been really kind of interesting and rewarding at the same time. So, some of the things that I just wanted to, point out, through the process of doing all of this, change in such a short period of time, some of the things that have been really instrumental to us has been, again, our network of, people that we're connected with. So the chamber, right? Reach out to Michael and Joe if you have a question, because if they don't have the answer, they have this incredible Rolodex of people that they can refer you to. It's just a tremendous network and resource that should not go untapped. And for us, another big thing was finding business mentors. So that's a very new concept to us in the last year. But finding mentors has been so huge for us, to just know that we can pick up the phone or shoot off an email and, get somebody's outside unbiased opinion, and get somebody's different perspective, because, we're lucky that Stuart and I work as a team and we have each other to bounce ideas off of, but sometimes we still do get kind of stuck inside of our own thoughts and head. So to really be able to reach out and lean on people has been unbelievable. I know it kind of is obvious, but keeping that positive attitude, COVID's been so challenging, right, for all of us. And we even stress this with our kids, you gotta stay positive. One of the first things that we did, excuse me, I'm just gonna take a sip here. One of the first things that we did when COVID hit was we made it mandatory in our house that schedule doesn't change. So we're not sleeping in the morning, we're getting up, we're going to work, we're doing our schoolwork. When there was no school, the kids came here to the shop and we, had programs, not programs, but projects ready for them to do. Staying positive is just, I can't stress that enough. So, do what you have to do to kind of relieve the stress. And don't be afraid to take risks. For us, this was a matter of really making sure that our family survived and that financially we were taken care of. But, it was risky for us to go out on a limb and come up with a brand new product line and switch from doing wood products to plastic products. And, we're definitely not walking away from the cabinetry and the wood products, but, just being able to see that opportunity and add something on. I think you just always have to be able to kind of look for that opportunity and, and adapt. And then as far as, this team of people that we're working with right now, whether it's our business mentors or the creative folks that I was talking about earlier, we've assembled a badass group of women that are just like kicking it right now. So, I mean, between the branding and the website and working with, somebody on social media, and like, we're just like full guns ablaze and we're going after it. And it's really cool. It's really cool that we've, not only reached out to a network, but I think Stuart thinks that it's cool that we're all women as well. So, I think just kind of just going forward and assembling this team of people that, are not only capable, but enthusiastic, and have, a love for wanting to really kind of take something to the next level. And I feel confident that we can do that. So I don't know. So that's kind of our story right now. I'm happy to answer any questions, and if anybody wants to connect offline as well, I'll put my email address in there. But I think that's it.
Thank you, Deanna. We appreciate it. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them right here or put them in the chat as well. But I just want to say thank you. I mean, it's amazing what Deanna and her whole family did to help businesses stay open right here in the Merrimack Valley. I mean, without them, like I said, they wouldn't be able to open without these barriers, these glass barriers. And I'm always amazed by watching the video. Also, you guys drop one off the roof. It stayed there. What else did you guys do real quick?
Yeah,
there was a bunch of different things you did in that video.
So, that's one of the things is like, we don't have any formal training necessarily in marketing. And so we just recently tried to connect with, where we still are trying to make a connection with this organization called Shared Services for YMCA. And so they're an organization that helps YMCAs across the country source different products and services, right? And so one of the things that we discovered in our initial interview with this potential client was that he expressed that he thinks that down the road that they've already bought a bunch of barriers, but he believes that down the road they're going to have issues with them breaking. And he questioned how durable our product is. And so we kind of took it to the extreme. And so we decided to do our own durability testing. And so this is not scientific or in a lab. No, we went up on the roof of our building, which is about 30 feet tall at the highest point, and we dropped one off the roof, and it stayed together. The legs didn't even fall off. It was relatively unscathed. And so then we decided to run it over with the car just to see what would happen, and it survived. And then, we took it one step further and, had a little batting practice with it. And so, we like to have fun, right? I mean, you got to keep things fun at work. And so, we decided to kind of make our point with it and have a little fun at the same time. So
I watched that probably 10 times waiting for it to break, and it didn't break once. So that was impressive. But one thing,
the sound effects were the best part, because you could hear it like crunching and hitting the ground, and we were all just like, the sound effects were great. So
yeah, I was amazed. But one thing I always love is when you always have your whole family in the videos. You always work together as a family, and I think that's great. So
I think too, I just want to jump in because I've heard you talk about the YouTube page for your family. I'd love it if you could share that, and I can add it to the thank you email, because I think what your kids make is absolutely awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things that, we like to do in all of our work here is that we like to upcycle a lot. I hate throwing things in the dumpster that I don't have to throw in the dumpster. And so that's how that all started, really, was that, when we were doing a lot of solid wood, we would take our wood scraps, and it started out with a Mother's Day project one year. Stuart and the boys came home with a cutting board. So they had taken all of the wood scraps from our shop and made me this beautiful cutting board with all different species of wood. And so I had thrown it up on Facebook, obviously as a proud mama. And I was just like, oh, look what my boys made me. And I couldn't believe how many people were like, will they sell them? Can they make them in this size? Like they just like ate it up. And so, so they actually started their own little business, and they went to a couple of years ago now, and they went to craft fairs, and oh my gosh, did they kill it, because people loved not only like the green side of it and the ups and like the, you know, upcycling story about it, but they loved that they were young kids that were working with their hands and making something, and they're not, you know, playing video games or whatever. They're in the shop, they know how to use the tools, they know how to be responsible about it. And, you know, we always joke that, you know, our kids are never going to be unemployed because they know how to work with their hands. And so we've really just kind of, you know, anytime that we can teach them anything that we can, you know, and it's funny because, so they're not here today doing schooling, they're homeschooling, but when they're here and they listen to all of our conversations, so whether it's making a sales call or talking, you know, about a contract with somebody or whatever, like through osmosis, they've got like all of this knowledge now, and they are like becoming young entrepreneurs at the same time, which is really neat because they're not afraid to have a conversation with an adult, you know, or talk about, you know, or even like interject. And, you know, we've brought them in on like the design meetings for like our new logo to get their opinion, and they love it. They love being part of that, you know. And actually, so our next venture with them is we're going to be working with the North Andover Youth Center. We're going to be starting a program for their membership this winter. And so what it's going to encompass is kind of like an intro to woodworking is going to be the first class. But the boys are going to be the teachers. They're going to be in the shop showing other middle schoolers how to make something, how to work with their hands. And we're really excited about putting that together with the North Andover Youth Center.
Any other questions at all?
No, I just want to make a comment. It's really, really good, and it's great that your husband is supportive. You've been working together, but sometimes that doesn't always happen in a good partnership. So that's great of bringing, you know, all the other folks that you've brought on part of your team. And my niece is a sophomore at BC, so I know my sister-in-law and brother-in-law appreciate, because they've been still doing the school thing, you know, being in there and not being from remote. But it just really, you know, you said your kids are middle schoolers, so that's awesome. That is awesome, because not only, you know, bringing this to market for the companies, but, you know, it's all about values and family and relationship. And that's really very, very impressive. So thanks for sharing today. I'm really appreciative.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anyone else?
Dina, there's also some comments that have come to you. I can share them with you via email if you'd like, just so you'll have them.
Yeah, that's great. I'm trying to read them quickly, but I also want to listen at the same time. So
Yeah,
that
I'll
would
send
be
it to you.
I just had a quick question. How did you branch out to get all the people? I know the one person you said was a good friend of yours and got furloughed, and it was just an organic conversation, and she kind of helped you with marketing. Was she sort of the way of sort of pivoting and finding these other great contacts that just sort of evolved into partnerships, into marketing and grassroots opportunities?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of it has been friends of friends. And so Stuart and I, so when COVID hit, we were on the heels of graduating. Stuart's a Navy veteran. And so we were involved with this veteran program. It's a 6-month streetwise MBA program. And so we were about to graduate that. And that's where we met our one of our business mentors. So the woman who came on as an outside sales person was our, I guess, assigned business mentor through that program. One of the other people that we lean on a lot is the founder of that program, a gentleman named Lee Goldberg. And so he has an incredible network. He's been a turnaround coach in and around Boston for, I want to say, 30 plus years. And so he introduced us to Katrina as our mentor. But then we also met another woman through the program, Tracy, who works for a company in Connecticut. She does private equity. And so for whatever reason, she had heard our story and was very interested in meeting us. And so we had like a very preliminary like Zoom call with her. We've never met her in person. And we mentioned to her that we were looking to do some more, rebranding, and we really wanted to go nationwide. And she referred us to a woman for like the rebranding. And then that woman referred us to somebody that does the website, and so it's really it's been this really organic process of just one person saying, oh, I don't really do that, but I know somebody who does. And so now it's like, they're all kind of working together and doing like little parts of it. And then we just keep reaching back to like the business mentors. And, I find that the more you talk about what you want to do and the more people you tell, first of all, I like doing it now because it makes me feel like I'm more accountable, right? Like if I keep telling people that I want to grow this nationally, guess what? I better figure out a way to do it. And then I just find the more people you tell what you want to do, and ask for that help. Like, don't be afraid to say, oh, I really want to do this, but I don't have that skill set and I don't know the right person. Do you know somebody? We've even reached out to, that veteran program is sponsored by the SBA. We now have a contact at the SBA through the Veteran Outreach Program, and he's unbelievable too. So it's just like, I just find like the more people you tell, your story gets out there, and then you're top of mind with them so that, maybe they don't know somebody who can help you today, but if you're top of mind, then you'll always be there, and they'll think of you, and they'll think of who they can refer you to.
Thank you. That's very true. And I appreciate that. I think the more you do kind of put stuff out there, the more, like you said, you're accountable, but the more that someone's like, actually, I know someone who can help you, or I know someone who is looking for that. So yeah, thank you again for sharing your experience. It was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It's, for so many years, I don't know why, if we were afraid to ask for help, or if we were afraid to kind of, be vulnerable maybe. But this is all very new to us. Like within like the last year, I would say is, we're learning that there are people who are out there, and not only can they help you, but they want to help you, and they want to share their expertise, and they want to refer you to people, and they want to see you succeed. So it's been really great for us.
I think something else that's important to kind of point out that you've mentioned is business mentors aren't just for businesses that are starting up or businesses that have only been in corporation for a short time. You said you've been in business for 20 years and this is something you're still working on. So I think that's such a great point that you've made. And for a lot of businesses to hear, like, just because you've been in business for a while doesn't mean you can't reach out for that help.
Yeah. And if anybody ever said to me, even just a few years ago, that I would be selling plastic barriers, I would say, you're absolutely nuts. Like, why would I do, like, there's no way that I ever saw that I would be here, that we would be here as a business doing this. Like, it's just nothing that we ever thought of before, but you take what life gives you, right? And we joke with our kids all the time that we're making COVID lemonade, right? Like, you got to make the best of it. Like, and that's what we're doing. We're taking a situation and we're figuring out how we can, make a positive out of it. Not only, for us as a family and a business, but like, it's more, it's even more, aside from the business aspect of it, it's even more so like the process of what we're doing and just being adaptable and being flexible and kind of being able to roll with the punches and just, you know, and keep going with it.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you again. Any questions or comments by anyone? Well, I want to thank you again for joining us today. We appreciate it. You know, I think what you and your family have shown is that you can adapt and adjust to any situation. And it's great that, like I said, to see you getting your family involved and how you work with others, how you connect with others. I think that's great advice to everyone who's part of the call and everyone who's watching the video later today as well. But I just want to say thank you again. Any last comments by you, Deanna?
No, you know, thank you. Obviously, thank you for having me. You know, it's what we're hoping to do with sharing our story, you know, through avenues like this and a few webinars that we've done is really just to inspire, you know, small business owners, because we are the backbone of the economy, and you gotta just, you gotta persevere. You gotta find the way to make things work. You know, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of people going out of business, and you know, we're trying to do our part to share our story and you know, kind of help people think outside the box and you know, stay positive and see if we can help people kind of push through and survive, because we all need to lean on each other.
Perfect. I think that's great advice and great words to close this program. So I just want to say thank you again. We appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come speak with us. I want to thank everyone who joined us for the call as well. As I mentioned, the Merrimack Valley Chamber has a whole host of programs coming up. I see Danielle on the call today. We have a program with the Better Business Bureau next week. It's free to register for. It's on scams and frauds. You don't want to miss that one. We have networking coming up as well. Whole host of programs coming up. We want to say thank you to all of our members. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. And thank you to our great speakers. So thank you again. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.